It's weird being the only girl. I kind of like it. Don't worry, Saucebox is not going to go crazy and start publishing men or anything. Skinner's already asked, I know. I have 6 poems, so if you're a counter, you can start counting down now. Hi, people on the patio. Enjoy dinner. The restaurant next door is great. They have an amazing eggplant parmesan, I'm not going to lie. It is very sad that Jeffrey and Donna couldn't be here tonight, but they're wonderful, and I'm sure Jeffrey is saying hooray right now from his apartment. It is an honor to read with Jonathan and David, and I'm so happy to see a full room full of amazing Buffalo people. So without any further ado, buy books at the end and we'll sign them for you. From January Jones. Certain heat wave approaching 35 degrees of measure vary in accuracy of apprehension, western edges about to melt into bloom, pink-lipped and ice-eyed sun staring bleak as August's oppression, inverted, swollen throb of desire haunting, repetition of fingers where fingers were, longest year fails. To collapse under weight of time of snowy accumulation, 2 seas or 2 keys frozen solidly into slush, winking shattered moon orb always recollects, often leaves or colors changing, shades of white, bleached irises or subterranean cultivations desperately exposed. In thick of 40-some home games, beard-shrouded lips circling streets and eerie lamplight, soft sky cover making water bodies right, longitude varies day hours, grease smearing palms, wave or clasp for safety, orange flash. In bed all night by afternoon, even late morning, over frigid blocks to whiskey, man-craft, manned now is then, more activity to mental skeleton, the moan of crisis, breach of whose silence? What force to be found, early cold forehead warming to cheek blush, almost 35, so edges veered wider, streets full of icy little rivers, trash clogging, irrepressible downward motion as lump in throat anticipates loss. Tears fleeing eyes undressed for chill air, its brick edges funnel, lips prune. And shoulders winks makes one miss fervent sycamon attitude, vulgar tenacity to hope against. Darknesses earlier, then later only subtly, myth for imperceptible change, no less spectacular and radical, perpetuity of shift, freeze and thaw, carving out then carrying away. Outdoor mirror perverts like crocodile in cornfield, 1 official month intent in its offices. This poem is dedicated to my husband. Any paper verse awry. The straight path to a paradise whips through factories, building doll houses and miniature cars, not replicas, but decoys. Filigreed with destruction, false power of an even falser reality. Welcome tap of foot on path, unbegrudging adoration for bodies in motion, obvious and persevering in their passions, past rows of production on some smaller scale, onward toward one place, past forgetting and underneath constructed surface material, tended as with wishes for good harvest. Bound to bounty as an evergreens, the tenacity of burdock. From blind following a need for naught but revolving revolution, the pure, deep oblivion of tenderest ambivalences, wet metal aphrodisiac, still rust-proof, unmarred, bare as the dollhouse frame, then layered in gazes, and the injury of marked demand or toy chassis mutating, fluid as fluid when to fill low spots like on lawns and sidewalks, submerged to surroundings, outnumbered by digits, repeating leaves or plumes, cloying lilac or honeysuckle, blown into smokestacks and out as fantasy, plastic, yet remarkably sturdy, worth study, as is the texture of membranes between worlds, pink-hued afternoons dawning, white-sheeted night, removed not by distance so much as settlement, homestead of wilderness in ordering, for no stockroom, nor wood cellar, nor way of solicitation, coming again here and here, misnamed Eden or mastery of fabrication, walkways edged, daisies and chicory, torrent of waves blooming, the guardians of solitude. From January Jones. Days into year, just past full moon, apple flesh white, now prone to decay, recomposition of body strung tighter, taut against cold, effort strain makes unnatural curvature, but in moments of crisis, you push out where I turn, concave tension, walks in too short sunshine on too long legs, facing westward pull into further chill. Later setting children, anchor and buoy, gridlock wilderness has its own two-step recipe, optional. Year of insistent beginning, January follows January, while blood clots thick as thumbs promise what is what cannot be. Dreams of hot-flowing waters with oil slick eddying to echo vacancy, no clear reason, but fears there, loss only constantly scattering as seed or feather or secret, growing larger as minutes inch later. You remark on pain of cure, and I simply cannot tolerate drams, grinning book jacket and jagged truth of segregation, sense in ordering, voyeur to window winding away, ice thick and darkly. Roar, ream, mirror plays, parts and partings. Promise, transparent, takes on opaque layovers, interruptions, table with kids, bare nut tree or gnawed rotting pears of opposing season. Now year of opening, reopening, resolutions and novelty, too often overrated, or biographies not yet composed, one of Barrel, Geology's Diary, or books more sincere from mattresses positions, how to wear grooves through snowbanks, or be invisible, or just still what gets ignored, raw feet, some meatless storyboard skeleton narrative, black keys echoing not Narcissus, but rather chat box chatter, multiply those pleas fall on dear fears, or death nears day inching outward. It wasn't easy, just fate, attempts aborted, sad purpling, gray scrap of cotton blend, never as wet when alone, lost soaking past thunderstorm fandom or mist and drizzle at river edge straight into unexpected direction, so expectedly. One echo, one early may I, yes, and blinder against too bright day in place overrun with tunneling wind, which New Year's Lake resolves to freeze or promises not to. Only 1 in 5 oddity, litany of charred remnant of organic matter to bars in daytime, cheek rose, cold front, closed fists, round initials. Thaw freezes, plummets to sub-zero tundra cold, balmy wetness turns bursting pipe. And use value of to resolve devolves to guilt at undone, where pride should be piling in drifts of achievement, to love what seems barren, to loathe what narrows and tenses into aching shrug against cold and toward another start. Beginnings so arbitrary that year grows not up like flora but outward, rippling open, as rings on pond water, echo of loss to be found eager for reckless devotions, and western dreams filigreed in sunset, fingered by arctic air, contact leads to contraction, and action slows to staying home with six-pack. Can one institute driving bans for thoughts which serve no one well, of failing to measure up to a named standard set outside oneself? Birds whirl and chirp on frosty branches, leaves replaced by feathers, hot little bodies flashing among shades of white and gray. Cloud mountains mirrored by shoveled crusts heaping child high, hushing to endure but blanket of lake effect or nor'easter makes what could be stay anticipatory. As words wing away, crow's path not practical, but necessary. As a pistol burns blue ink over air, overseas or over time zones to sway someone or ones, more often none save internal companion, cold and ready. Cold forces shoulders forward, motion to which I am no stranger, forward, too forward indeed, through paths turned loops, haunted routes of passage over, through, back and back again, to blue-porched houses, industrial roofing or river edge. Thinking of spring, ice chunks, dizzy display makes body feel movement where none exists. Rocking like torsos do, forward, again, forward, toward. Perfectly nothing days, enough of wildflowers and foul, give me sharps of ice in pale, enduring start upon its own bravery. Undeniable jet stream, pulse pushes ever west to east what's new, and join in I resolve to sing no songs today but those of manly attachment. In hour piles, too fast as experiences, self-made detritus, constant too cold for rot save in fruit baskets. Flaring mold and artificial heat, but out one goes no matter blanked thermometers. To walk is ginger dance step over or meager trudge across. Unsure as beginner on skate blades or forceful bustle and arrogant defiance of unshoveled public paths. For higher contrast shortened days, gray and grayer damps feeling, intellect dulls with tarnish and may be insulation. It merely compels hazy distance between living and alive, important as shade of meaning between sleep and sleep with, love and in love, wake, awake. To begin against unpreparedness, hot heart and chill feet press onward in sharp doze or frostbitten sprint. Moving from subtle upwelling to transit for cataracts, constant roar of green, white-capped onslaught, precipitations wax and wane as desires do, preferring this month pomegranates and greens, no taste for mealy tomato, past sputtering trees in fruitless spin. The wingspan of submerged possibility. I don't hate birds. I'm just named after one. Here, an osprey circles to dive, rising luckless and unsatisfied, an exercise in repetition, in the persistence of a desire which demands satisfaction as the glove slap in a duel. What then is worth such pursuit? Shards of heart muscle turned to puzzle pieces. What struggle more domestic than that at home in the body? A relentless hunger. Two terns fly over the dusk darkening pond, a pair singular and eternal, the dyad of acceptability. Still, from the deepening grayscale interval between solo and duet, I wring scrapbooks from my mouth. Each tooth, the jawbone, tongue, lips, and gums, recording their various intimacies. The broken dock thumps in boat's wake, how honeybees thrust their bodies while feeding one appetite. Yet what does desire reveal but itself in each separate act of creation, each chain of chemical reactions, the biology behind love processes, a set of notebooks for poetry, a diary, thoughts recorded in a language known as other. Drained wine bottles, shots of whiskey, carafes beaded with the condensation of expectation more often than not, soured, an unreturned phone call, postcards belatedly arriving pregnant with what is unsaid. Hand on wrist indicates possibility to lead or follow. Aggressive behavior ensures victory, as being taken, overwhelmed, a rooftop or stairwell, and kisses, real or imagined, elevate heart rate, release pheromones, neurotransmitters in constant attempts at pair bonding. Flawed reason unsupported by the hedonism of the day's polyamorous affairs. Silly rabbit, monogamy is stupid. These and unrepentant erotics. But the dishes must get done somehow, orgasm or not. Defiance preferable to the expected reproduction. Instead, the unborn progeny of genius ferments, expelled in an ecstasy, a lateral pattern, a chain of sensation with loops irregular as the osprey's dive, its solitary pleasure-seeking complicated by loon calls toward isolation and its end. Wisps of smoke and storm cloud, wings wide for elevation, each thwarted attempt at satiation, each success bittersweet. a thirsty reed, skins for tactile learning, overtaking darkness, fatigue, and the hunt ceases, a bird in flight, disappearing, desires aftertaste and earned hunger, glass sharp in the shadows. From January Jones. Lacking clash of antler for dominance, here simply submission, giving of self over to winter, cruel but constant lover, as loss is, strung across aggregate of days appropriate for ice hockey and holes cut to fish, no fool's errand after all, what need we more, previously frozen. In weeks stretching out to no end, till another anniversary for firsts, awash in balm to blistering frigidity, and how many hours of incremental increase, bike lanes closed for piling snowbanks, salt crusting over refuse, snapped monkey board, side view mirrors, bits of paper, plastic wrappers leaching out until cold snap freezes over, blows in new mantle of gauze to dress our annual wound. Arctic air masses swoop in like birds of prey feasting on Promethean liver. And like that Titan myth, our climate attacks, but we regenerate, enduring 2 long nights, bold flashes of sun glaring in eye-bright sky, how many hours in cars? To equal 1, too few in person, nest feathers rustling in readiness, how needs found, one says, from its spinal column, stiff one, not bowed like mine into wind, or blown back in forward lurch, chains on tire contraindicated by blow, salt, and 2 days ago river had its precise green skin showing ethereal surface, more lit from inside, that trickster light as reflected disguise, as aquamarine underglow, giddy and swollen light, akin to those eyes glinting under distilled influence over distance west and more west, to various edges made by water barrier, landmass escapes scale as month 1 endures beyond itself. New beginning denies end, unending, fed by scraps of mail, inked notes, ice-rimmed pools filled with rotting helicopters' dreams. Chill sinks into, up sleeves, down open throats, both filth of urban winter and freshness from high-pressure system, trees populated with crows, shaking like early autumn leaves, rustle of unrest and thousand eyes. Learn this to face loathsome February. Thank you. And now we can all enjoy another glass of wine by Books. David, thank you, Aaron.